Hello, everyone, and welcome to Location and Evaluation.
The goal of this video is to guide instructors on how to teach a course on mitigating a location and the evaluation challenges when researching a topic. The video includes material suggestions that can be utilized by instructors when preparing their own class. The material provided is targeted for students grades 10 to 12 or those 16 to 18 years of age. The course description provided aligns with the materials and resources provided. A copy of the presentation deck is available in the video description. Here is one tool we created that can be used as a visual reminder for students and the educators that guide them. The first 4 sections summarize the content that we will review in this information literacy lesson plan focused on locating and evaluating sources. It can be printed and posted in your classroom or used as a handout for students to keep as a quick reference guide for important steps to follow when researching information for a paper or project. Visit the link in the description to access the infographic. As an educator resource, this tool is clear and open for educators to use as a guide when building and supporting the development of information literacy skills amongst their students. Used as a quick reference, educators can use this tool to develop an understanding of the importance of evaluating sources through the lens of the ACRL and CRAP test. While engaging the students, use these discussion prompts to guide your conversations. Keep in mind things like, what is the author's point of view? And why did they choose this platform to reach which audience? Remember to be flexible and allow the students to build in their own ideas and their own discussion prompts. The following icebreaker activity can be used to encourage students to start thinking about what locating sources entails and how to distinguish between credible and unreliable sources. The icebreaker also includes tips for educators on how to implement it. The icebreaker video is also available on its own, with the link available in the description.
Welcome to the icebreaker activity for this lesson. This is going to be awesome. Show your students 2 different sources, a trustworthy one and an untrustworthy one, for a current hot topic. Make sure it is something relevant and appealing. Next, discuss where each source comes from. What were some search criterion? Where were they published? And where do you locate various databases? Finally, have the students watch ANU Libraries 2020 Evaluating Information Sources found on YouTube. Here are some tips for the icebreaker. Have students work in small groups whenever possible. Offer lots of time for discussion. Use open-ended questions to deepen thinking. And lastly, encourage students to take notes of some of the strategies their peers use. Good luck with the lesson.
Created using Powtoon.
Before you begin, discuss with the students that the first step of a research project is deciding on a topic. Guide them to choose a topic that interests them, as supported by Simmons 2022's statement that finding a topic is the first step in the research process. Remind the students that at this stage they have the opportunity to choose a topic and do some quick searches for content. If the topic looks like it will be too difficult to find quality sources, they still have time to revise their topic of choice. Begin part 1 by asking the students to brainstorm. Where could they look for sources for research purposes? How would they go about searching for sources online for a research project? And finally, ask what they can do if they're not finding what they are looking for. Are there any tricks they know to make their search more productive? Have a discussion with the students to see if they know where to find current information and introduce the information cycle. Explain that the first step is knowing where to look for information and that there's a large variety of options. For this particular unit, we are focusing on news sources. Ask the students questions such as, where can you look for news sources? Where do you look for the most current, up-to-date news source? Simmons 2022 shares something called the information cycle that can be introduced using the graphic on this slide. Describe how the cycle begins at immediate through to at least 1 year, and where to look, such as the internet, newspapers, magazines, journals, books, reports, and reference materials. Show the students how Simmons 2022 explains that the internet or broadcast media is the fastest and has the most up-to-date information and is updated often, whereas reports and reference materials could be almost 2 years old before it is published, explaining that because of the depth of information and the rigorous scrutiny they go through before publication takes time. If you pause here, you can view the sample activity that you could give during the lesson on locating sources for research assignments. This assignment could be used as practice or to assess their understanding of the first steps needed to locate sources. The students need to know that forming a thesis statement, which means creating a research question or hypothesis related to the topic, is important to be able to move on to locating sources. Explain that they should begin compiling a list of keywords and terms to use when they begin locating sources online. Provide the students with these helpful hints suggested by Carleton University 2018 to add variations and synonyms to your search terms, and by Simmons 2022, who recommends mixing keywords or terms together. Ask your students where they will look. According to Semoule State University, this is the first component of information literacy. Working with students, decide which type of sources you can search to acquire the information you need. Will they need a news source, an academic paper, a blog, or a book? Will they use Google or another database? Offer the students another helpful hint when conducting research. This would be to save their findings by bookmarking any sources they locate and keeping track of databases they've used. Suggest that they create a document to record their key words and terms and what sources they were able to locate under that search and what database they used to keep track of all their information. These sources can be saved for later when they begin evaluating their material. Share this T-chart from Carleton University 2018 with the students while explaining ways they can mix their keywords and terms together to create new search terms. Discuss with the students about what Carleton University mentions about adding Boolean operators. For example, they would add the word "and" between keywords to narrow down their search, and they can also add the word "or" to broaden their search. By adding these words "and" "or", they are now creating what Carleton University states are complete search statements. Carleton University also suggests that by adding quotation marks to their keywords or terms will allow phrases to be located within searches. For example, if they are searching for information about carbon emissions, they would type quotation mark, carbon emissions, quotation mark. This is an easy-to-use worksheet created by Thompson River University that may be helpful for students to use during the in-class activities. Please click on the link below to access the PDF file. Here is a sample of an exit activity. Have the students create a list of search terms using Boolean operators and other variations such as adjectives and synonyms on their research topic choice. This activity teaches students of alternative search methods and awareness of what might or might not work in their search criteria. Using Boolean adjectives has tremendous impact on the search results. This observation should be the basis for an in-depth conversation with students. Here is a sample of a homework assignment to prepare for the next class. Share the link on this slide for a fake news and misinformation article. Have the students explore one of the fact-checking links located within the article. Remind the students to take notes and be ready to share their thoughts and ideas in the next class. The goal of this exercise is to have a discussion with the students on the topic. You want to see if they can discuss their understanding of information literacy and the importance of how it relates to higher education.
In Part 2, which can be presented in a second lesson, you'll want to focus on how your students can evaluate their sources. Students can evaluate sources by utilizing tools such as the ACRL Bucknell Framework Guiding Principles, Bucknell University 2015, and the CRAAP test, Benedictine University 2022. Evaluating sources through these resources can provide students with a deeper understanding of what makes a source reliable. Utilizing these resources together allows students to think critically about the information being provided and to help refocus and refine their thoughts about what the article was trying to accomplish and for whom. The Framework for Information Literacy for Higher Education is a guiding document on information literacy developed by the Association of College and Research Libraries, or ACRL, Bucknell University, 2015. Here, we'll simply refer to it as the ACRL framework. It's organized into 6 frames and guiding questions, which we share over the next 2 slides. The guiding questions are meant to help students dig deeper into the purpose and intended audience of the article or other resource. Have your students choose one of their sources and review each of the frames and guiding questions. The goal is to have them consider questions carefully and be able to answer them fully. This will require them to learn more about the topic, the author's experience and perspectives, and to search out other experts on the topic of their source to look for different perspectives. The CRAAP test is an acronym for Currency, Relevance, Authority, Accuracy, and Purpose, Benedictine University 2022. This test is simple yet monumental in shaping and refining student searches to include ideas such as who is sponsoring or publishing this? And can you verify the information? Like with the ACRL framework exercise, ask your students to evaluate one of their sources by researching and answering each of the questions listed here. Once they have completed these exercises, some great prompts to further discussion within the class include: how would you compare the ACRL framework to the CRAAP test? Did you find one more beneficial in evaluating your sources?
Thank you for watching, and we hope that you find these resources useful.